we streaming now?
Are we? Oh,
Hey, there it is. Oh man.
yay!
Okay. All right. So, hey guys, this is another development podcast. Woo! I am Untrustedlife. I am a programmer.
I'm Oliveriver. I'm the music team lead and other stuff somehow person. Yeah, that's me.
I'm Monkey 2. I'm a concept artist who has been like not very active recently, but I'll be around in the future.
Hello, I'm Sporefox. I'm a concept artist, but I'm also able to do 3D modeling. College is very rough, but I'm trying to help out.
Narotiza?
I am Narotiza. I am a graphics dude. Hi.
And we also have hhyyrylainen.
Yep, I'm hhyyrylainen. I'm the programming team lead, and I'm streaming this. And there's probably something wrong with my microphone on the stream, so sorry if it makes your ears bleed.
We also have crodnu, who is also a programmer. And
But can't talk.
yeah.
He doesn't have. He doesn't
A
have a
mouth.
mouth.
And then we have a mind gamer / that dude / bzz, bzz, bzz.
Oh, that's the same guy.
He makes
Mind-
models and he also makes really cool backgrounds for biomes, which he's working on right now.
Crodnu forgot to evolve a mouth.
And
And I
Mind
just
Gamer.
had a random accident happen in Maya. I can show that in here if you want.
Oh.
You could if you want. As something to start us topic-wise.
Okay, well, recent developments, I guess we could talk about, right? Oh, no, let's talk about TJ Well. Okay, so TJ Well isn't in the stream right now, but he's our new design lead, and we posted a devlog about that recently. And so we actually have a concrete dev plan now. And we have bacteria now. We have a somewhat working auto-evo system. Compound clouds seem to be working properly now. We have individual compounds now. Oh man, we have so much cool things.
I don't know what that is, but that's what I'm looking at right now.
We need to come up with a thing that can be.
I guess. I was trying to make a mess around with turning a cube into a sphere. I did that, but I increased the division levels too much after distorting it too much. I made this weird porcupine thing.
Micro spike ball of death.
So it's
Narotiza, you were talking about all these new things, and are they all on the new engine?
What?
Yeah, I think what?
I'm not an expert on the subject.
I asked the wrong one. I think it was you. Or who was it that said the?
That was me.
Oh, you are. I can't. I can't see who speaks.
I'm Untrustedlife. And yeah, all this stuff is in the new engine. Which is, as I said before, I said in the last stream, I'm saying now, things are going smoothly. There was a lull of 2 weeks where me and Hyrelyn got busy, but other than that, things have been progressing rather smoothly. And as I said, we have bacteria now, we have all of that fun stuff. And yes, it's all in the new engine, which is also a lot more moddable. AngelScript is a lot more readable.
Awesome.
Yeah, could you run through some of the things that the new engine, some of its advantages over the current one? Because I think people might still be a little in the dark about that.
Okay, so the new engine. So in the old engine, which was written by a programmer years and years ago, hardly anyone on the dev team actually understood how the old engine worked. So what Hyrelyn did was they wrote a new engine. They wrote up documentation for the engine, which is the Leviathan engine. And since we have documentation and stuff now, we can train all the new programmers on that engine, and we will hopefully won't run into issues with people not understanding how the engine works anymore. Auto Evo isn't in game. Random Evo is. That's true. Firefish. But the Auto Evo system is something that I have put a lot of work into recently. So it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
So if there are already now, there's now a system tracking the species. Do they like have names assigned to them?
Okay, so that's something that's an issue on the GitHub that I put one of the new programmers on. His name's Citrusite. I don't know if they're actually working on it, but they haven't been on. I haven't talked to them in a little while, but they're working on the names. But right now, it just gives them an ID like Bacteria 3, etc.
Okay. Well, technically a name too, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, they split up into new genuses and new species. They can go extinct due to diseases. They can we can get black swan events that kill off like half the population of the world. You can get I call them microbial shit. What's the why can't I think of the word right now? Anyway, there's a chance that all the species in the world will diversify. Like this is something random I added. It's kind of like a microbial version of the you know what I'll you know
the Cambrian explosion.
The Cambrian explosion,
right.
Yeah. So that's in the game now too.
Cool.
But it tracks the population of every single species, and they can split off into new genuses and new species. They maintain colors, and disaster event. Yeah, those are all in the Auto Evo system right now, crodnu.
Wow. So is there a way? Well, I guess not yet, but that there will be a way for the player to view these names, right? Like the names of the other species, they have like encyclopedia or something.
Okay, yeah. So this is another new thing we just added. You can mouse over things, and it gives you information. So we had some issues where there were colorblind people who were playing the game and they couldn't tell where a compound was. So now when you mouse over something, it'll tell you the compound concentrations where your mouse is.
Awesome.
And so you can see, oh, that's glucose, etc. if you don't know what it is. The plan is right now it doesn't do this, but it will once. It'll be pretty easy to add anyway. You can mouse over another species, like another cell, and it'll tell you their species name. So.
Okay, and that's awesome. And it will just tell you their name.
Yeah, it'll just tell you their name. It's
okay.
It'll be really basic at first, obviously.
Sounds cool.
Right.
Personally, I think that might be better as a toggleable feature because it might ruin the immersion. Like, oh, you look around and it's telling you things with pop-ups, and sometimes you might just want the screen to be mostly blank so you can immerse yourself in the world.
It's non-intrusive. It's just like the top left corner, and it's always there.
Okay. So not like in the middle of the screen as you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand. So it's not at the mouse, but somewhere else. Okay.
Like yeah, you can mouse over it and it displays the information about where your mouse is at in a different part of the screen. But
gotcha.
There's another thing. Oh, I'm so bad at talking, you guys. Let me drink some water. I was wondering if that dude, Mind Gamer, if you can post. So we've had some people who are working on new backgrounds for the biomes. So that dude, if you could post like an image of the abyss background you made, like that'd be amazing. So that the people at home can see it.
Yeah,
hey, Kinesis is here.
Sorry, that was a weird noise.
Is this coming soon? Says Notin to see here. So this is coming within the next. I say 2 months, but there's a high variance in the amount of time it'll be. It won't be another year or anything. It'll be 2 to 4 months.
Maybe
Hopefully.
even 6.
Or 6, yeah. Says Ireland. But I doubt it'll be 6. Pretty sure it'll be less than that. So, like I said, 2 to 4. Because originally we thought that we were going to get a release out in June, but there was a lull of 2 weeks where me and the other programmers got busy. So that's not going to happen. Is blue already added? Yes, there are blue cells. Will you be able to
abyss.
Will you be able to edit the innards of more advanced creatures? That's for later stages. There we go. There's our beautiful abyss background by that dude. It looks kind of like on stream. It looks like I have my quality set really low, but hopefully it's HD to everyone else. Yep, that is the new abyss background, and they also are working on a cave background, right in the cave biome. Yeah, is a Kinesis cameo on the cards? Asked Oliver on a different chat channel. Well, Kinesis did just pop into the stream, so Kinesis, if you want to join the stream, you can just let me know and I'll add you to it. We'd all be okay with that. We actually agreed. We're all big fans of your so Kinesis, for everyone who doesn't know who Kinesis is. How far does that progress with other species? It affects them just like it affects all of them way more than it actually affects you. So hey, Kinesis says yes, please. Okay, cool.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Kinesis, I want you to join general chat on the Discord, and then someone will drag you in.
I can do that. If it'll let me. Because you might not have.
These guys should get in touch with Tirzu. We've considered that. How much time do you estimate it will take before development on multicellular starts? crodnu, who's a programmer of ours, has said that once we get a couple releases in the new engine out, we're gonna start working on prototype versions of the multicellular stage as well. So that won't be too long.
But only prototype versions for the time being, probably, because a lot of the mechanics that will actually be central to having a multicellular stage will come from having completed most of the microbe stage beforehand.
Yeah. But crodnu has said that they wanted to work on some prototypes of that, so that'll be interesting.
Which is fine.
Yep.
Should I give Kinesis permission to view the podcast channel as well?
Yes.
Okay, doing that. I'm just adding him to the permissions.
The abyss biome looks absolutely beautiful, by the way. And the lower one is the cave.
Yep, the lower one is the cave.
Oh, and we can see the microbes there.
Oh,
right,
okay.
like the bacteria. I mean.
Oh shit! Hey, Kinesis, what's up?
Hi.
Hello.
How do everyone?
Hello.
We all are very obsessed with your channel.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
It's interesting. I'm just a little quiet because I'm working on a thing.
You're good. I'm sorry if you guys get any like crunching or background noise. I am currently on my meal break at work.
Well, we get that for everyone else anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're basically famous at this point to have, a YouTuber play our game and then join us as a guest on our podcast. This is what famous people do. So.
This is what it's like.
Famous within the Thrive team. Some other guy joined general, but unfortunately they're not going to be able to join the stream.
Oh.
They can have their own podcast.
They just
left.
That's how my channel feels most of the time, just a podcast all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
is Kinesis a dev? No, he's not. He's just a YouTuber who has a really great channel, which I guess I'll link in chat.
And has played Thrive multiple times, which is why he's here. He's not just some random YouTuber we invited on. He does have a connection.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a few questions about the 2 screenshots that were posted from the Abyss and the other one. The first is, what are these spots that are all over the place, like the small grain that's floating? I think that's new.
Yep, that is new. That is what's it called? Aquatic snow.
Oh, okay.
Green snow. That's the name. Yeah.
I think it could be reduced in intensity just a little. It's quite dense at the moment.
The dots are the bacteria. The bioluminescent dots are bioluminescent bacteria. It'll be interesting to see how that interacts with the game because we have actual bacteria in the game now, which is another thing I want to discuss at some point.
Many features. Woo.
You'll
all be able to experience this whenever the next release is.
Yep, it's all in. Bacteria, says Darwin.
So I agree with whoever said that the aquatic snow could be like a bit less intense. But to me, it looks. I mean, credits to you for programming it, and it looks awesome, but maybe a bit too dense. I agree.
He says he'll fix that.
Oh, okay. And what do the bacteria do at the moment? How do they work?
Oh, the bacteria. Right. Okay. So the bacteria. They're kind of like mini microbes. So here's the thing. So we have cell walls now. We also have chitin walls. We also have we can add as many types of membranes as we want now because I added a system that'll allow us to really do that really easily. So bacteria are kind of like they have their own organelles for now. We want to give them plasmids eventually, but they have these things, we call them proteins, which are meant to represent everything inside of a bacteria, like their ribosomes, all that stuff. So we have respiratory proteins, photosynthesizing proteins, chemosynthesizing proteins, and I think and they can also have cytoplasm. I think that's the four. They can also have oxytocin producing proteins. So that's 5 special things for bacteria for now.
Wow.
And they also have a cell wall instead of a cell membrane, and they are treated exactly like normal cells in terms of auto-evo, as in they can evolve just like normal cells can evolve.
Oh
now.
wow! So they aren't just like floating around, but they have like species and they evolve and.
Yep.
Wow.
They also spawn in like they can spawn in clumps. They can spawn in lines. You know how you have lines of bacteria.
Yeah.
They can also
I remember
spawn in networks of bacteria as well. So you can get your giant oceanic forest of cyanobacteria now that you can like.
That's awesome. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
How will you be able to defend against bacteria? Just like any other thing you defend against. You'll be able to eat them as well, which will make playing as a non-aggressive cell more interesting because you can actually graze.
Oh wow, that's.
I mean, you're still consuming them.
Yeah.
That's awesome, but yeah, like they are. They aren't people.
But yeah, Kinesis, do you have any questions for us since you're on the stream?
I don't know. Who was just talking? I'm not able to see the
I was just talking. I'm kind of the main talker right now.
And you are Untrustedlife.
Yes, I'm a programmer.
Well, nice to finally hear your voice, Untrustedlife. Crap, I was going to ask about how auto-evo affects those bacteria, but that was already answered. So they're just kind of there in the environment. They're not really necessarily an aggressor that we would have to survive against. Just they're there.
They can evolve flagella, and they can evolve toxins. So they can act as a aggressor in some cases. I kind of want to allow them to get pyluses as well once we add pyluses, which is going to be coming in the next release as well. So they can stab you.
What kind of metabolic processes do they have?
Their processes are very similar to the normal cellular processes, except for they work at a slower rate.
So is that just the processes that would come with just general cytoplasm in a normal cell?
No, so they're special organelles. Can act as like a mixture between a vacuole and a organelle that does something, and an organelle that respirates. So like they can hold compounds, and they can process those compounds, and do anything else any other organelle could do. So like a respiratory protein organelle is like a vacuole plus a mitochondria, kind of, except for weaker and smaller and slower rate.
Yeah.
What's the rate that things auto evolve around us?
I believe I set it to 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes will be an auto evo step.
Oh, I would be screwed. Took me 4 hours just to get big enough to eat stuff.
The plan is to obviously like link the auto evo to the editor cycle per the actual plans, but like right now it's just time based, as that's like that's how it's currently done. So we haven't changed it yet.
And hopefully we'll spend some effort in rebalancing, getting into the editor, so it doesn't take you 4 hours to end up to be able to reproduce.
Yeah. Also, we've taken all the old compounds, like so you no longer have amino acids or any of those compounds. Now the only compounds that you have are glucose, ATP, ammonia, and phosphates and hydrogen sulfide. Okay. We moved oxygen and CO2 to environment variables. So it's like this is the percentage diffused in the water anywhere in this biome. So you should be able to get stuff done faster because there's less meaningless things going on. You don't have to gather glucose plus oxygen. You just need to gather glucose. You don't have to gather. For ammonia, we made it harder to evolve to grow because you need ammonia plus phosphate to grow instead of just ammonia at this point. I don't know how we'll balance those numbers, but right now, like as we have it, you actually evolve. Your organelles grow super fast. So we might have to actually make it them. It'll be fine. It'll be better. Don't worry.
I'm excited no matter what.
There was another question someone asked earlier. I wrote down the questions people were asking in chat before we started. So Mateo asked, do we have any guesses to when the full game will be available? I know it's probably a dumb question, just curious. So it's going to be a very long time, but the next version of the microbe stage should be, as we said, I say 2 to 4 months. Hyrylin says 2 to 6 months. And I'm pretty sure it won't be 6 months. Don't worry, it'll probably be more like 3 months. Or 2
But you have to take into account like programming, that time in a programming parlance where you have to double the estimated time for everything because of all the bugs.
Mm-hmm. My guess is 2037.
Hey, I think I'll still be alive for that.
Yeah, like you'll be that's like 18 years from now. So we'll all
still
be
be
very
alive. Ish.
Don't speak too soon.
Okay.
I at least hope so.
Could we talk about the new process to get programmers? Crodnu says yes, that's probably a good idea. Do you want to talk about that, Hyrylin? You're the team lead. I don't like speaking for everybody.
Do you mean about the actually enforcing the process that is written on the new programmers page or whatever it is?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll actually enforce the policy that you either have to show some impressive samples with like source code included, so I can do a code review and see if you can actually do stuff, or you can just flat out do a pull request on GitHub to Thrive, and that's how like I initially joined the team. But well, I did apply later, but I did a pull request first. So those are the two ways for programmers to join the team.
And can you give the rationale behind changing the system to this?
Yeah, well, sort of like like just like the other teams as well will like ask for samples to like show that like the people can actually do what they claim. Like if you list a really impressive list of things that you have done, but you have nothing like really to show for them, like maybe you are a fraud, but like oh like yeah, I don't really know, but like it just feels right to like ask people to like prove that they are actually capable of doing things.
Who
And
just
also-
popped out of chat?
Not sure.
Oh, that dude did. So I,
Oh. We're all blind.
Well, he does have a very recognizable username. So
well, yeah, but it's different in every place. By the way, we have someone named Citrusite working on the name generator for species that we're going to be displaying when you mouse over them. And I suggest we add Kinesis to the prefix suffix list for that, so you get like a primum Kinesium.
yeah, we need to start naming species after members of the team as well.
I agree with but only the members who have names that are fit for this. For example, Narotiza, I think, is a name that could be used also. Or Adfox.
I don't know. I think I could see myself farming a herd of hhyyrylainen.
Yeah, right. That works too, and especially Atrox, because
I think Atrox is actually a existing species name somewhere.
Oh really? Oh.
Like for some.
Just like how right now it's always
I just Googled it.
premium Thrivum or something.
But then you'd end up with like the species called Untrustedlife, and you really can't trust that species.
They are a species of bacteria with a pilus, flagella, and poison.
So Atrox, I googled it. Actually, in Latin, it means something like horrible and or menacing.
So Dan Wap says, do you guys find yourselves being friends after working on the project? Well, a lot of us who have been working together for a while, I'd say we're on friendly terms.
Yeah.
I hate all of you.
Thanks, Kinesis.
He was only referring to people who have worked on the game.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I hate to interrupt, but I actually do have to scoot.
Well, thanks for popping into the chat, though. I mean,
hope I can make the next one for a little longer.
And if you are an aspiring YouTuber playing video games and wish to be featured on a podcast in future, then play some Thrive, make some good videos for Thrive, and maybe
better than me.
We will consider inviting you as well. You'll have to do well to be better than Kinesis. So.
Bye.
So, yeah, have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
See ya. Yeah. Well, that was nice. Revolutionary Games announces Thrive 4.0. Sue rate dropped to 0%. Okay, that's a little bit dark. But if it's at 0%, I guess that's good.
Atrox is going to engulf us all with his Atrox microbes.
Okay. Oh no, Primum Atroxium.
Will viruses be added? This is a question that someone's asked here that's come up several times, and I'm still not sure what the answer is.
I think we've discussed it a little bit. So the first idea was like, oh, we have them as little entities that float around and infect things, but that's a terrible idea. So the best idea I've seen that's come up so far is making them a cloud, kind of like a compound cloud or the new agent cloud, which will be replacing the toxin shooting. Or something like that.
Yeah, my problem with that is that like it's basically the same thing, so it doesn't really add anything.
Maybe the
Like you get flavor text as a species
Never mind.
has had a mass extinction due to disease, but that's just dropping their population down a lot. It is really just, we could replace it with like, oh, a meteor hit the species if we wanted to. But in any case, we don't have viruses, and that's an actual mechanic at this point. And I don't know if we have plans to or not, and we don't for now.
For now.
Well, I'm not gonna like rule out it. I'm not gonna like rule it out.
Well, we're
At
not
least
going to
even
rule out
by-
anything completely, I guess, because there have been many suggestions made for future parts of the game, and we just don't know because it's all too far off.
Yeah.
So Dan Wop asks, what is your most favorite future update you are wanting to add to the cell stage?
Like, I'm just excited for bacteria to be a thing. Like in the next version, now that we have them. Like, I should post some screenshots so that people know what I'm talking about who don't, pop on the Discord all the time. Like, that's what I'm excited about. I'm just excited about releasing that right now.
Anyone else?
I'm
Does that
excited.
count?
Well, the thing I'm most excited about is actually like the thought of that at some point the species will evolve in a way that's that makes sense. Like, for example, they get more and more chloroplasts and specialize into this niche, or like the prey gets faster and then the predator gets faster. Because at that point, you can kind of just sit back and watch like evolution unfold, which I find an exciting thought.
Yeah,
Because that's what the whole game's about.
Yeah, even like right now, you could like with the version that we have right now that's in development, you could like start the game and then just leave it for an hour or something, and then go back and look at the log, and then you'll see a log of every single event that's happened with the auto
Well-
evo and all the genetic codes.
Providing you've managed to survive that long,
Yeah, like
even without being at the computer.
You'd have to first make a lot of chloroplasts, and then maybe it will work.
what did crodnu say? There's a thing in the GDD that says there will be a disaster, like a random cell will be infected and will infect other cells. Well, we haven't. The GDD is subject to change, especially now that we have a new design lead.
Oh, there's a good question here. What is the strangest bug you've run into while developing the game? I think disco mode, probably.
That takes the cake.
Yeah. Hold
Disco
on.
mode.
Disco mode. I'm gonna
There
find.
used to be a. Go on. Sorry.
Well, I'm gonna find the thread where I explained it on the community forums.
Should I play the disco song on stream?
Yes,
Do it.
please.
Right, I'll see if it works. So no one can probably even hear anything over the disco soundtrack, so I'll turn it down a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea how loud it is. So
It sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so StealthStyleL asked a good question. What about what about prokaryotic gameplay? Yeah, that is something I'm definitely excited for. And the way I program the bacteria, there is no difference. So like right now, if you like set up your species correctly, like right now, you'd have to do that like in the code, or like with a console command or something, which we have now, by the way. You can play as a bacteria, so prokaryotic gameplay is definitely a possibility, like at some point.
So if we implemented prokaryotes now, would there be a distinction between them and bacteria, or would it like be the same?
Bacteria are prokaryotes.
Oh, well, another thing learned today. Well, okay, in that case, but isn't there like some difference? Like
No, bacteria are a type of prokaryote.
Oh, okay. But like they like you said, they have cell walls like plant cells, but animal cells have membranes, so that's kind of and you start off with cell membrane, so you are not exactly the same.
Well, I mean, that's just a matter of changing one variable, right?
Yeah. But,
so it's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, that's very.
Since they'll play no differently right now, we're not going to have that for the next release.
Yeah. But it's an exciting thought that the system is now so adaptable and like easy to manage that prokaryote gameplay and bacteria which are already implemented are so connected with one another, because that means it will be easy to implement the prokaryotes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
It's good that bacteria and eukaryotes both use the same sort of editor system, so you don't have to, figure out how to do that. It's just
we had some really intense discussion about that.
Yeah.
Right now, if you were to make a bacteria, the editor isn't working right now, by the way. That's something we need to get working for the next release before we release it. But
kind of
once
important.
that's working, the way you would build your prokaryote is the same way you would build a eukaryote, which is text-based. It'd be like you're really zoomed in, kind of, because when you play the game, it would just scale you down. Yeah.
Awkward silence.
Update on the engine switch. We now have
doing a thing still.
uncontrollably spinning cells. Someone send a math wizard to fix that.
Yeah, hhyyrylainen, make sure you play the video on the stream or the GIF.
To
break the silence, I have another question. Or if anyone else has one, they can go on. But now that species are actually tracked as such, and there are multiple biomes, do you have like species assigned to biomes, or does so every species lives in every biome basically?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
Right now, when you die, you get a new biome. You'll be dealing with the same species.
Okay, interesting.
That'll require some more work.
But that is planned to change eventually.
Yeah, there are some really cool concept ideas. Like having like a grid of different biomes, and then you could like when you get to the editor, you would have a choice between editing your cell or saying you move to this adjacent biome. So you could like take over the world. But everyone asking me questions. I'm trying to think if there's other people we can ask questions of.
Did you comment about like before we can have like different biomes like actually affect stuff? Like we'll need the editor part where you can select which biomes your species is in to work. Otherwise you'll just die.
That, but yes.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like we cannot make the biomes different before that like control is there for players to choose which biome their species is in, because they would like basically die. They have like chloroplasts and they end up spawning in the abyss.
I'm gonna get some screenshots of the new bacteria, of the new bacteria.
Does anyone know about, in reference to playing as the same species in different biomes, does anyone know or understand TJ Wells' idea for the patch system for the different biomes and how species can move between patches?
So we had a class file. We had a class file that was a patch system, was code for a patch system. Right now that code is no longer part of the game.
Okay.
I think the patch system was more about like having like subdivisions in a single biome, and then the auto evo would run on all of them, and the majority result would apply.
Yeah, we'll probably bring it back, but
yeah, once the auto evo thing is started to work on for real.
Yeah, it's like much more fleshed out, and actually cares about what specific like organelles a cell has, instead of just being like, oh, let's just add one. You know.
We've got a good question here. I'm kind of curious, has anyone from the science community approached you guys to run a simulation of diseases and viruses to help better understand them? And my mind, not quite, but my mind goes to that time when Seragon, who's a member of the theory team, and who hasn't really been around much recently, but was active-ish in the past, he did a presentation to a group of academics talking about Thrive and about how the simulation underneath we had it planned to work. And at the end, someone asked him about whether this simulation could be adapted to simulating like cancer and how cancer cells spread and mutate. And he thought, well, that's quite a good, that would be a good adaptation of the code and the system created. So yeah, I guess someone has kind of approached us about that. As for whether it would actually be used for that, I don't know, because it may be too different to adapt properly.
Thrive saves lives.
A bit, potentially in the future.
I'm trying to get a screenshot of like the different like groups of cells you can get. Like I can't. Networks are very rare. Like a network of cells, which is like your jungle of cyanobacteria. So I'm like running the game right now and restarting it.
Also, with all of these screenshots, I should point out the GUI in them is only temporary, and I, at some point over the next few days, because I now should have time to do it, will convert the GUI into a format that's usable in the new game engine. And it will be the same GUI as we had before, and then potentially at some point in the near future, someone will make a new one, although that's not likely to happen before the next release.
Also, we're not just replacing the Abyss background. The plan is to replace all the backgrounds with new versions. So the background is also temporary. Here we go. Here's like a network of bacteria.
So with all of these microbes and bacteria, how many entities can reasonably be displayed on the screen at once without the game giving up?
I'm not sure.
Have you not stress tested? You haven't stress tested it yet.
I haven't stress tested it. I haven't like forced spawned like a million networks. So there's an image of a network of cells.
All right, so I have something I've been working on that was related to something we were talking about before the stream. Do you care if I put that in here, guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is kind of an idea of what the missing organelle that we want to do. I think it was called the chemoplast. But I based it on the shape of the chloroplast.
Oh, that looks amazing.
It does look quite nice. My one issue is it's the purple color is kind of reserved for the nucleus.
Yeah.
So if we could find
that, I just wanted a color.
Yeah, no. Other than that, it's great. But yeah, we'll have to think about colors.
Yeah.
In terms of what organelles they relate to. The
that's the
mitochondria.
basic thing, but I have to be back in a bit here. So AFK.
All right. So yeah. Crodnu says, and the mitochondrion. Isn't that more kind of pink?
The mitochondrium is like a light purple pinkish. So we also phosphate are purple right now, the compound phosphate.
So Untrustedlife, you were saying that all the biome backgrounds would be replaced. How do you know how the biomes that already have backgrounds will be changed?
Well, okay, so I've added some stuff to the biome system, but the backgrounds was already in there. And our friend here, the one with the wingding name, Mind Gamer, um, is working on the backgrounds, and it's very easy to update those. But they'll change. Like, so we plan to have different eventually. Like at the start, we're not going to do this, even though we already have it tracked per biome. We're just going to have them all be the same. We're going to have different oxygen different oxygen percentage for each biome, different CO2 percentage for each biome, a different like frequency for compounds appearing for each biome is already in there too. Like all that code is in there right now. We just don't really use it much. And there's also different ambient coloring for each biome. There's a lot of stuff that's per biome, and we're going to be changing a lot to make biomes more unique.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I was just thinking about the visuals because you said like the backgrounds would be different. So I don't know, but okay, that's.
I thought you meant like just how are we going to make biomes unique or whatever.
Oh no, I thought I was talking about the visuals because I didn't actually think that the gameplay differences between the biomes would already be implemented at this point, like in the
Yep.
Snapchat versions. But wow, that's great news.
Well, a lot the compound concentrations have been in there since 3 point something. But we didn't really use it. And then I added the CO2 percentage, the oxygen percentage, the colors per biome. I added all that myself. But yeah, no, it should be cool. I'm not an artist, so I can't tell you how we're gonna do the art in each biome. That's probably more of a question for the person making the backgrounds.
So who would that be? Do you know?
It's the guy with the wingding names, as I said.
Oh.
Mind Gamer. He's right there in chat, right below me.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a mic.
He's typing.
Yeah.
In chat currently, there's someone who's annoyed that we haven't answered his question. Sorry, there are many chat things happening, and sometimes we get caught up in our own discussions first. How would you go about becoming a eukaryote if starting as a prokaryote?
We have discussed this a little bit. If TJ were here, we'd be able to talk a lot more about it because he's like the design lead and he's had some plans. But the idea is that you would get to a certain size and then you'd be able to have a choice to say, hey, I want to add a nucleus now, just as an organelle, like in the editor, like any other organelle. And then you'd become a eukaryote.
You should probably be like not unlockable like in Spore, but like not a thing you have right away, because like if I remember correctly, the transition from prokaryote to eukaryote was like really kind of a big thing, not a thing that just any old bacterium can evolve.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, there was some requirements, and like there are some other ideas floating around. It's like, oh, you need to have you have to have these proteins in a specific order, and then you can upgrade that jumble of proteins, like those 4 hexes, into a nucleus.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
That was another idea that was floating around. Oh, your headphones are fucked up, and you missed most of that. But was that about? Mirror Monkey was just asking you what your art direction would be for the various biomes and like what you're working on now and stuff.
So while he's typing, I will point out, if you are annoyed at our ability to answer questions quickly enough, there is a place where you can ask questions and discuss with fans and developers any question about the game you may have at any time, not exclusively while we are doing a live stream. And that is the Thrive Community Forum, which I will post a link to now, but it will be a few minutes, seconds, whatever, in the past for all of you. So go to the forum, ask us questions, discuss things, and hopefully you'll get better answers than you will get here. But if you do that, you won't get to listen to our beautiful voices, so it's your loss.
But why have prokaryote gameplay if only eukaryotes can form multicellular organisms? Well, some people just want to play as a bacteria, you know?
Yeah.
I
do have one question real quick about the model that I made. Since the purple is restricted, what color is the sulfates? It's been a while since I played Thrive.
The sulfates are yellowish. They're supposed to be orange, but right now they look yellow.
Okay, I can work with both of those actually. So I'll get back on that. Sorry.
Yeah, and for realism as well, like prokaryotes. Yeah, the floating around is like prokaryotes turned into eukaryotes at some point. Like there was one cell that evolved something a membrane that they could use to take in other cells, and at that point they became a eukaryote.
So related to that, TJ Vale, who sadly isn't here, I think he said like we should start as like without a nucleus because like you can have like a lot of progression like really fast without us having to like implement new features. Like I think that might be part of his plan for making Thrive more fun, which is also one of the major goals of the next release or two.
So I think we're about to say the same thing. You go on.
Yeah, William Cock. Coke probably is how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. Why can't prokaryotes create multicellular organisms? Is there any known reason, or is it just the fact that they haven't? Well, the thing is that we try to keep close to Earth life because we have examples.
It's quite difficult to imagine what non-Earth life would be like, because we just don't know, and we don't know what's possible.
That's a good point, Damien. They can assemble into biofilms, but that's about it. The pronounced same as cook. Okay. Then I was wrong on both counts. I apologize for saying your name wrong.
So a question about the transition from prokaryote to eukaryote, like the building of a nucleus, because you said that on Earth all eukaryotes stem from one cell developed this nucleus. Am I right?
Yeah, that's as far as we have evidence. That's what it looks like.
So in the game, will it have to be you develops the nucleus? Because
it would be kind of sad if it was just the player, right? Like it'd be cool to have that bacteria you've been eating for ages become a eukaryote.
Oh yeah. Then I was thinking that because if the AI could develop the nucleus before you, then there would like have to be 2 generations of like the nucleus would have to form 2 times like 2 times on their own, and maybe the like eukaryotes that would come before you would diversify and like fill out all the niches, and then you would have a hard time like getting into the eukaryotes. Do you know what I mean?
Kinda. Like
okay. Because like if they and it would also be like a very it would be a very happy accident if the nucleus would develop 2 times independent of one another.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
One funny thing about how it works right now, like in the in-dev version, there's no limit on the size of prokaryotes, so they could just keep gaining more and more proteins, and they could just get ridiculously huge, and the game would be like, oh, that's fine, even though that's totally unrealistic. So you could have like a giant weird bacteria that eats eukaryotes or something.
Sounds like fun. Updated the color. Didn't take long.
Because they're not limited in any way, so they have the same AI that normal cell. They have AI as well and flagellum and stuff, so they are capable. It's more work for them, but they're capable of carrying out the processes a normal cell could take.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll be able to actually eat things because you require a membrane for that. But they'll be able to fly around and stab you and stuff, so you can have like a big massive bacteria attacking you with pylosis. It'd be like being stung by a million bees or whatever.
Can I for a second get back to the thing with the transition from prokaryote to eukaryote? I think you were misunderstanding me. What I was saying when I said the player would have to be the first one to make this step, I thought that afterwards other new species of eukaryotes would split off from the player naturally, like in the generations afterwards. And so like this, all the eukaryotic life would have one origin, and you would kind of have played the precursor to all multicellular life. And if you think about it, no matter if the real world was like a Thrive playthrough, no matter if you played humans or apes or I don't know, plant or whatever,
a sentient sea shrub.
Yeah, it would they would all at some point you would have played the first common ancestor of all eukaryotic life. So it's not unrealistic to have like the player be the first one, because everyone is the first one in a way. Do you? Maybe I'll have to write this out in the development forum at some point.
That'd be useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so species can break off of yours. So just like they can break off of any others. So and the idea is that we want you to be able to compete with your ancestors.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool if there was just a really rare chance of an AI species also developing a nucleus, and would just be a little fun surprise.
Yeah,
and
and
they
like
might
one of them has like a chitin wall, and the other one has a membrane, and then they're just competing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there is an interesting situation that was mentioned in Star Trek Enterprise. 6 races develop sentience on that planet. So 6 different races eventually on the same world, and you have to compete with them.
Someone mentioned bluegrass, and yes, you'll be able to play as bluegrass. Of course, and blue fungus.
Oh god, the memes have started. No, we were going so well.
It's just fun to user engagement, you guys. User engagement.
Sailor's eyeball. Ugh.
But isn't that the Zindi? Yeah, the Zindi from
Star
Trek
Zindi.
Enterprise.
The problem I have with like allowing a lot of sentient species to develop is that like the timescales get different as you progress. So like it's really hard to catch up for other species. So if you gain sentience and start like being a hunter-gatherer, it doesn't take you more than like 100,000 years to get to space. Whereas other species get like some minor changes if they are still like in the cell states or something.
Yeah, so like if you're still in the organism stages and you just evolve a little, and then suddenly those primitive creatures that were playing around with the sticks suddenly have giant factories and are killing your everything.
William Cook asked if you can have multiple nuclei. I think we mentioned something about conjugal nuclei. Like, I think that's one of the planned organelles, like in the GDD.
It's like a backup nucleus.
Yeah.
Does anyone know what it would do?
Spare tire nucleus.
Basically.
Oh. So basically, you'd have a life counter.
Oh yeah, there's that option.
By the way, folks, we're sorry if we ignore your questions. Usually we end up devoting about the second half or last quarter of the podcast to answering all the questions we see in chat. So we'll get to them eventually. just talking about development right now. So
Yeah, and I think I have the chemoplast working out now. The membrane shell itself is the old sulfate color, and then the internals are that orange you mentioned.
that looks amazing. I like
So
that.
if you want to use that, I can render it out for an FBX.
hhyyrylainen would know more about how the model needs to
Okay.
be, like the type of model it needs to be and stuff.
Alright, fair enough.
It needs to be exported from Blender using the Ogre exporter that I somewhat fixed.
Alright, because right now I have Maya. It's the one I've used since high school.
But yeah. if
Can
you
I
do
talk
that, that'd
about
be awesome.
AI for a moment?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So a while ago, I came across a system. Well, it's an explanation of how very simple bacteria decide where to move. You know, how they decide where to go to find the best compounds. And it's a system called run and tumble, which
I
is
started working on that, by the way.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. It. So it's a very simple algorithm. Basically, if the compounds now, the compounds you have access to now are better than the compounds you had access to a moment ago, keep going straight on. If not, turn in a random direction. And I decided to program, or use whatever programming skill I apparently have, to program a prototype of this. And it created some quite organic movement with the right parameters. So there's a video of it there. But Untrustedlife says he wants to start working on microbe AI in the current game engine at some point soon, involving this algorithm, which hopefully will be a realistic and quite fun, or well, I don't know whether you can call it fun, but it will hopefully add to gameplay in quite well, because it represents real world biology and how bacteria actually move. And then, the code for avoiding predators and moving towards prey will be slapped on top of that somehow.
Yeah, so we just so since I just split out the compounds into individual compounds instead of being shared storage, we still have that storage variable which ticks up whenever you get any compound. So what I'm going to do is I was going to get rid of that variable because we don't actually use it for anything anymore, but I decided to keep it so it'll keep track of how much the cell has gathered recently. And I'm going to make the AI use that variable to see whether they're moving up a gradient or not. So it'll be like, oh, has the compounds increased? Okay, there's a lower chance you're going to tumble. That's why it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should be pretty cool. And I'm excited, but there is like a minor we got compound clouds working now. They're oriented correctly, but there's still like a minor issue with how your cell picks it up. Like seems to be like one case where you don't get it. So we'll fix that, and then once that's fixed, it's run and tumble time.
So the minor issue is that they don't work at all.
No, they work. They work. It's just like if you're really far away from the origin of it, it causes some problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to disappear for a while. I will, because I've got things to do. I will be back shortly, hopefully. So don't go too mad without me.
Okay.
Well, take care. I think we'll survive. I don't know. Maybe anarchy might ensue somewhere.
The memes will take over.
Hopefully not.
They always do when he disappears. And then he comes back and it's like, what were you guys talking about? It's like, oh, nothing. That ice shelf looks pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Now, if only your cell membranes weren't totally like screwed up. You can grab that from the SVN, by the way, to fix your membranes. But anyway, other than that, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it fits with the other
bubbles are a little weird. The colors don't quite match, but
but it's almost there. It's kind of what needs to be.
Can we have a short summary of the podcast?
Gotcha.
Yeah, we just talked. We're just talking about development and recent development. Kinesis came on, and water bears are cool. Yes, they are, Frank. You're right. Another organism I really like, and it's a single-celled one, is the stentor, and I want to make a stentor in game at some point.
What is the stentor? I know of the tardy bear.
The stentor is a single-celled ciliate. It attaches itself to like a stick or something, and then it creates like a stalk, and then it like grabs prey and pulls it into its stalk.
Ambush.
It's cool.
You get into the later single cell and you have to deal with ambush cells. That'd be interesting.
I'm trying to like look for an entertaining video about stentors, but
Oh gosh.
The Bob Rouse Rex.
So that guy just posted a screenshot of something that he calls an ice shelf. Is that a new biome?
Yep. We're going to be adding a few new biomes, but they're all in the plans, so we're not going to like randomly add a
awesome
biome that wasn't planned.
And
like the cave is new as well.
Yeah, I saw that one. So the things that are in the screenshots of the ice shelf, like the floating white things, this is the, how is it called? Sea snow too?
That looks more like ice.
Oh,
like
okay.
Bits of ice.
Awesome. So
does it have floating ice fragments in the bubble layers?
I want to add proper physical floating ice fragments. That's part of the reason I wanted to add the ice shelf soon. Is so that I could add like physical ice fragments you have to push your way through.
Yeah, and I guess also there are plans to include like small rock parts that are floating around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
we also want in high acidification areas, we want acid bubbles you can run into.
Oh, and wow!
It'd be horrible if you don't have the right cell defense, probably.
You can just like swim around them though.
So with these rocks that are floating around, how I imagine it would be very cool if you like were just swimming around and then you just came like to a straight wall that's part of a huge rock that's in reality maybe a centimeter or a millimeter across, but in the microbe it could be like a huge thing,
like a giant mountain.
Yeah. Would be interesting.
Yeah, I really want to play around with microbial biomes.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can add that to the growing list of concepts I need to work on. The disasters spawned the desire to work on biome types.
Here's a cool stentor video. Even has a funky beat to it.
Oh, that thing.
Is whoever's recording gonna play it?
Should I play it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just so
the
they
great
can
thing
see.
about it is that it's a single-celled organism, and it does that.
the single cell Leviathan you have to watch out for.
I think we've been
Anyway. I get randomly excited about these things because I'm weird.
No, I totally get your excitement.
It's good to be interested in microbes if you're making a game about microbes.
Should we answer Dome Hammer's question about alien microbes in a meteor?
There's we have not discussed that at all. So, maybe.
I'd say like that's part of the disasters, like part of the game. Like maybe in there.
By the way, in the video, it was talking about the currents that this stentor produces, or currents currently, in the game.
Currents are not in the game right now, but we want to add currents.
Yeah. Okay. That's like also a huge environmental factor, I can imagine, in combination with the rock sediments and so on.
It can be one that goes far beyond the cell stage.
Yeah, right. But in the cell stage where like the environment is to a large part empty, we have like to take everything we can, and I imagine that here the currents are especially important, especially with the like for the chloroplast cells. Imagine if you're in an ice biome and then there's all the small particles of ice floating around and they follow the currents, so you see where the currents go.
The currents will probably not be too strong because like it will be very annoying for players if they can't move in a direction they want.
What if an alien stentor came to your planet? Then you'd be screwed.
It's the thing you have to avoid, like the epics from Spore.
Yeah, it's a blue fungal stentor, and it's an alien.
Give it an eyeball.
See, I like creating memes, my friends. It's all good. Well, there's that one guy whose username is everyone. I don't know what they're talking about in chat right now. Wow, this podcast dried up pretty quickly.
Yep.
I suppose we should just take questions now. What do you guys think? Like from chat?
Yeah, that's fine.
Like I think any other things people wanted to cover?
I can post my current concept for the GUI, which I've been working on a little bit as we've been talking.
Oh, please, yes.
Ooh. Yes, please.
Okay, just give me a moment. I have to zoom in because
Glorious life of game design. Woo.
Yep. All right. Hold on.
Could you stay a microbe while other species become multicellular? So the plan is that yes, if you want to keep playing in one stage, you'll be perfectly able to do it, and the world will progress around you just like normal. So other things will evolve,
and
including multicellular things.
And then you'll lose because of time scales. Like you get one editor cycle, and other species have already ruined the environment.
Basically. Then I guess it's a time limit, right? Oh, that looks amazing.
Yeah, I like it.
Primum hyrolium.
Oh, that's the same concept that that's posted in the last dev blog, right? Or like the one before the last. This looks very, very. I love it. It looks very minimalistic and
Makes sense.
yeah, and it just kind of matches the feel of the microbe stage with all these round patterns everywhere.
It also maximizes the viewing area for the player.
Yeah, sure. It's minimalistic.
I like how you added paralytic agent to the list.
Yeah, just having multiple, because I'm assuming you can have multiple.
Yep.
I
also like the name Primum Hyrium.
Yeah. Also, you could there's a little C in the bottom corner of the compound list, which is just maybe you could just press C to hide it if you want to have more screen open for maximum immersion or something like that.
Just
it
a
would
little,
kind of become faded.
Just a tiny detail I'd like to point out, which is totally awesome, is how the in the compounds corner, the color which is there for the compound goes over the writing, and it changes the writing's color to whatever the icon has. Do you see what I mean? It's very strange to describe it in voice chat, but you can see
Here,
it
I'll take a super zoomed in screenshot.
Oh wait, I'll screenshot it, and
I see it. That looks cool. Yeah. So if you decide to stay as a Prokaryote long enough, you could basically play Pandemic. Well, I don't know if we'll go that far, but you'll be able to just keep playing as your bacteria for as long as you want. What else?
You mean that?
Oh yeah, that. Nice touch.
Because it'd be kind of hard to read if it was dark on a dark background.
Yeah, right. Oh, someone already posted it. Yeah, that looks. It's very. It pleases my design autism.
William Wolf says, "Do you think it'd be cool if you could just stay in the stage and become like a very advanced marine species?" I suppose we already answered that. Yes, you'll be able to do that. We have no qualms. We're not going to do the spore thing and make it so that it's not even interesting to play the stage anymore until you move to the next one. For example.
Everything is unique to yourself.
That's how I like to think of it. Yeah. Okay. So the next question from Dome Hammer: will hybrid breeding ever be a thing? As real-world examples like humans and Neanderthals? Now, like code-wise, probably not.
That would be terrible to track the very DNA of the species.
Yeah, unless you. Well, we already track like the gene code, right? Because that tells you what organelles you have and stuff.
Oh yeah. But like in the real DNA, there are so much more markers that don't really make an effect.
But yeah,
but you can track back, so that would be horrible.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be really, really hard to do, unless we're like, oh yeah, you just breed with whatever, which would get weird, get really weird. Or like only with members of your genus. that would still get weird, because then you'd have like 8 people hybrids or something. Anyway.
Like I said, I have finals tomorrow, so I guess I'll have to go now. But it was awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I hope you're here for the next one.
Sure.
All right, and then there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oliver will probably come back, but
yeah. Oh, bye. I accidentally already dropped out. Have a nice evening.
Hasta la bye.
Bye.
Should we
Any other questions?
maybe discuss like the release plans for the next release, because like DJ Vale isn't here to talk about the fun. Like maybe something from that list, or do we just answer questions for the rest of the podcast?
Well,
Is there something
we
to
already
say?
had a dev blog about making the game more fun or whatever. There are gameplay features here. Is there anyone that wants to be the gameplay features reader? Or do I have to do it? Looks like I have to do it. Okay. So
I'm looking at something for class right now anyway.
All right. So the plan for the next version, well, the problem where the player could swim through a cloud of ammonia and become clogged, we fixed that already with individual compounds. So we added individual compounds so that you no longer get clogged with ammonia when you're swimming through clouds or clogged with whatever thing you're gathering. So you can no longer get clogged, basically. Each vacuole adds 25 storage for each compound, and it shows up in the list. Instead of like it telling you have 100 storage space and you can only have like 25 in one because you have 75 in another. Like it's all individual storage now, so that's really nice. They also said after this release we can have a discussion about whether to move to a different storage system, like storage with variable caps and stuff, but that's not in the plan right now. One issue, they said it's really painful to be close to unlocking the editor and then be hit by Toxin X and have to recharge health before continuing with the editor progress. So we are separating microbe health from reproduction so that your health bar is tracked separate from your reproduction. So even if you're like injured, you could still replicate if you've duplicated all your organelles well enough.
Finally, that was a huge flaw that I kept having. I would always hit the toxin stuff and be too injured to even reproduce. Then I would just starve.
We're also it says each cell will get 100 health when spawning, and each time they are damaged, they will lose a little. Health will regen at 1% per second, and it's on its own. It's separate from reproduction. So that's the plan for now.
Firefish asks if you could specialize vacuoles so they store more of one compound but less of everything else.
For now, that's not the plan, but we mentioned that, like we even brought up in this podcast that it's a possibility that we might move to that kind of system. We'll see what happens, but it'd be kind of painful to have a vacuole. Like I could see you specialize in a vacuole to store a certain compound, but it would still store a certain amount of every other compound. Anyway.
Yeah, but like it's just if you have one vacuole that's specialized for glucose, like you could have plus 20 glucose, but minus 20 everything else. You could still, do other things.
That would be interesting. It's not coming in the next release. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Number 3, movement is too slow in 3.4, and churning is painfully slow. The solution for that is that we're rebalancing movement in line with a prototype made by an individual named Andros, who's a really good programmer, even if he can't get Thrive running on his computer, with all cells turning at a constant speed. And we also had someone on that already, Trevisolian, I believe, was rewriting the movement system. So that should be in soon, but I think Trevisolian is taking a break, so we might just take his code and have someone edit it and then merge it ourselves. We'll see what happens with that. Like they want to do an A, so you you press A to churn to the left, D to churn to the right, etc. So we can free up the mouse for looking around at the screen. So that's another thing we're doing. And for number 4, there are too many compounds and processes associated with cell reproduction. It's confusing for new players, and most of the compound bars never move. We already did this. As you can see, we got rid of all the amino acids. We only have 5 compounds now, which is ATP, glucose, ammonia, phosphate, and hydrogen sulfide, which are all tracked individually. And oxygen and CO2 are now environment variables that will vary by biome. So like there's a variable that has like the percentage of oxygen dissolved in the water in this biome. And then we'll use that for the processes instead. So that's kind of cool. Any more questions popped up so far, or can I just keep reading from this list?
Let me look. This is the game that is like Spore?
We're kind of like Spore, yeah.
But we're also better.
We're our own creation.
Yes.
But yeah, O2 and CO2 are removed and added as global variables now. Phosphates and hydrogen sulfide are added, which are new compounds, which you have to gather. Hydrogen sulfide will be for chemosynthesis, and yes, we are adding chemosynthesis and chemosynthesizing organelles to the game, so we'll add some more organelles additionally with that. Chemoplasts are going to be a thing, etc.
Yep.
We're also get ready for now. We're getting rid of the unlock system. Everything will be unlocked at the beginning, which I disagree with, but
Temporary thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's some numbers here which I'm not going to read through, but for the way that our process system is going to work, which we're also going to rework. I need water. Because my voice is dying. So another issue 5, the game doesn't really feel like a game. Someone often ends up just swimming aimlessly around. Our solutions are, we are adding a population system, which I started work on, obviously. You'll start the game with 50 population. Each time you die, you will lose 10 population. Each time you exit the editor, you will gain 30. If your population is 0, then the game is over. If you survive
30?
for if you survive for 15 generations, a text pop-up comes up onto the screen congratulating you for being a survivor. You win. Whoa. And that's how we'll create like a game, like a way to lose and a way to win.
Until we
Like the
actually
base
have a
thing.
proper way to lose. And
Yep.
You
Until
know.
we actually, keep working and change that. These are, and then part 2, general gameplay improvements. So we want to make the game more fun, you guys. Right now, it's not really that fun. We want people to be able to sit down for like an hour, play some Thrive, and come out of that and be like, I had a fun time. I played a game of Thrive. I won. I had some fun. That's what we want. Or I lost. We're adding. These are things that we can add to make the stage feel more alive and fun. We are adding a pilus organelle to the game. If your pilus touches another cell, the cell will take some damage, so you can stab other cells. The bacteria will also be able to use piluses and flagella, so you could have like a bunch of bacteria attacking you like bees. Like that's
Yep.
a thing.
Or you can charge it then, shouting to yourself, ramming speed.
The compound clouds are being rebalanced, so they are very abundant at the beginning of the game, but become more scarce as time progresses. Moreover, in line with someone else's suggestion, they should be bigger and less abundant in general than they are now, which is based on a compound rebalance mod, which you can find on the community forums, which you should all just check out, Number 8, basic AI. We talked about that already. We're adding run and tumble, so that the AI is actually challenged. We're adding run and tumble. We're adding predator and prey stuff, so the AI is actually active and interesting and challenging to fight against. And the goal is to keep it as simple as possible. The only mechanics required are run and tumble movement, fleeing from cells stronger than you and moving towards cells weaker than you, and firing agents when you are close to other cells. AI is something that is really important to test a lot, so we're not going to make it super complicated at first, but it should be cool. We're also going to be changing how agents work. Right now, you shoot a toxin at somebody, and it shoots out. You shoot out your X, and it hits somebody, and it hurts them. We're going to make agents into a cloud. So there'll be a cloud of agents that you would swim through and then take damage that the other cells are releasing. And the bacteria can do the same thing. So people talked about there was a little meme on the Discord for a while about tritoxy bacteria being evil. It's possible for a bacteria to be only toxin, to have only toxin stuff going on, and so that's pretty horrifying.
They're so evil, they're just pure toxicity.
Yeah, and they're actually kind of common, so that'll be fun. And I love the idea of having the player start as a single hex of cytoplasm, but we're not going to do that for this release. So we do plan to move towards that eventually. for example, making it so you have to unlock your mitochondria, and etc. And these are all stepping stones. Sorry, see what you were saying.
And as a single hex of cytoplasm, you'll still be able to move and store stuff and survive.
A part of the movement rebalance is you won't need flagella to move anymore. You'll just move very slowly if you don't have flagella.
Gotcha.
Like a little speed increase when you get it.
A very huge speed increase. You're more like an amoeba if you don't have a flagella.
Yeah.
And so all that stuff is what we're going to be doing for this release, along with moving to the new engine and adding bacteria and all that other stuff we've already mentioned. So it should be awesome. And now I think we could probably answer some questions. Guys, I'll be right back, okay? If you guys could just look at chat and answer questions while I'm away, that'd be cool. I need more water.
Does somebody else have the YouTube thing up?
A main guy asked about when will the game split from known science into science fiction. So I think the plan is like the early space stage when you can basically explore your own solar system. That's like the known physics, and after that, like once you figure out faster than light travel, like that's when the sci-fi part starts. So like after that, you'll be sort of like playing Stellaris.
But like at the beginning, you're sort of like just launching satellites and slowly getting the hang of space technology. You can actually like, it gives you a chance to get to learn your own solar system and grow used to it. So it's not like, we can already fly to all these stars and you don't care about your own stuff.
So we transition from Kerbal to explore your own system, FTL tech, progressing into a Solaris type situation.
Yep.
Okay.
Something like that. Isn't
I'm not seeing questions we can answer in the chat. Does anyone have like older questions?
Please, we need them. We have nothing else to talk about. Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. Duh.
Okay, that we can answer. It will be out in 2042.
Like, it's really hard to predict when it's gonna come out, like the whole thing, because the speed of development can increase as we get more and more programmers, and how many programmers we get depends on how much stuff we have, and it can really, like, who knows?
I hope we're not doing the same egg thing that Spore did. I would think depending on what you evolve to be, you would do eggs or external eggs, internal eggs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just kept seeing stuff mentioning eggs, do a little dance thing.
And there's the parts question again, and there's been a lot of discussion on the community forums, and basically my opinion is that there won't be any pre-made parts. Maybe some guides where you can press like a button so that the editor like shows you what to do, but basically you'll just like adjust your organs directly, and there won't be any parts like in Spore.
I'm back, guys, by the way. So
Animals only or plants and fungi? I think
all
a
of
bit
them.
Of all of that, yeah. Then will we be able to design parts like our hands, for example, with opposable thumbs? Every artist's enemy is the hand, but I don't think we would have an issue letting people do that too much. It's just going to be a lot of programming stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to make it so that it detects a hand or whatever. Like,
or I think we could find systems to do that. Since basically it's telling what cell is a bone, what's a muscle, what's a joint and tendon cell. All these things are building blocks that we'll get to, I think.
Boofus, yes, we do have Boofus. That's a great name. We do have a Discord server. Here I'll create a little invite.
Here, I can.
When did the idea start for Thrive? I think after Spore gave us what it did. I don't know what the original idea was back then.
I know it goes at least as far back as 2013.
Okay.
There's the history page on the wiki. I'll post links.
Yeah.
We didn't start doing any actual work on it until much later.
It's like feels like a bulk of the work has happened in the last 2 years.
Well, maybe if you don't include this year and they then say the last 3 years, excluding this one.
Yeah.
So this will take so long than Spore. Well, Arthur, the problem is that we are we're not paid. We're all just kind of. Why can't I think of the word? Jeez, I've been having trouble thinking of words today. Volunteers, yeah, derp. What the heck is wrong with me? We're all volunteers. We don't get paid for this. We work on it in our free time, so it's definitely going to take much longer than, a game made by a company. And it still took them years and years.
Yeah, and we are a small team. Like, basically 5 people are working on the game right now.
Yeah.
999 asked the same thing about the design custom parts. I don't know if he can hear me.
Well, they should all be able to hear you.
All right. I think, yes, custom parts can be evolved over time, since most of the later animal phase and all that it relies on the cell stage.
Arthur, you can report bugs on the community forums.
I think a lot of the people like really compare us to Spore too much. Like, for example, I don't think we will have like any drag and drop parts in the editor, like at all after the cell stage. So, like, that's a completely wrong idea about what Thrive is.
The multicellular stage will be more like painting with cells.
That's a good analogy for it.
And then you'll be sculpting with different organs.
So, Arthur, most of those crashes should be gone with the next version because we switched to a whole new engine.
Instead, you'll get physics glitches.
Yeah, there's some physics glitches, but
I've been getting a lot more of them lately for some reason. I don't know why.
It's probably because there's more stuff on screen. Like, there's like little piles of bacteria.
Will interactions between creatures be more complicated than Spore?
Hopefully.
Yes, you don't just
definitely
press one button to dance with them.
Decide if they're food, stalk them. You obviously won't be able to communicate immediately with them anyway.
Like something I'm hoping for is something like this game called Feed and Grow Fish, like in terms of like directly controlling your animal, right?
I saw something that mentioned, will the space stage be like KSP? Kerbal.
Well, it's already like it's like a single-celled version of KSP right now, because you can just create whatever random weird thing you want to do, like Kinesis made the weird flagella monster.
Oh.
The wiggly things, just the cell that just was covered in flagella everywhere. Just
Yeah, Arthur, the voice
monstrosity.
chat for dev thing, the podcast that's for devs and mods.
Yeah, Monty made a Cthulhu cell. That was interesting.
All hail Cthulhu cells. Odell Lake. I don't know that one, guys. What's that?
What?
Is the multicellular stage like Odell Lake?
I don't even know what that game is.
Not familiar either.
Is it possible to lose and thrive? Frank, yes, it will be. Right now it's not, but it will be. I mean, you can die, but you can't like go extinct right now. But in the next upcoming version, like as I said earlier, the point is for you to be able to win and lose. So you can actually go extinct.
It's a very old computer game from 1986.
I'll have to look into it.
Early educational life sim for the Apple II and the Commodore 64. The player is a fish living in Odell Lake.
So like Feed and Grow Fish then.
Yeah.
So then just say Feed and Grow. Well, like right now, like the current iteration of that would be like Feed and Grow Fish. Like, again, I love that game.
Forum games as Easter eggs, please.
I mean, I don't really pay much attention to the forum games.
I'm just reading off questions, but
I don't think anyone on the dev team like really pays attention to the forum games. Even
I mean, that's a bit harsh.
Like I'm probably almost the most active developer on the community forums, and even I ignore them almost completely.
Like I'm sure, like I'll look back and we'll see if we can find some fun Easter eggs to add.
Well,
I mean,
Ovo asks, how about wings? Will there be a realistic flight model?
We'll see once we add currents to the cell stage, because that's kind of like having air in the.
Currents can be in water and in air. It's a fluid dynamic type thing. So I'd say wait and see. Still a bit to go.
Will chameleon type camouflage have an upper limit on size? I don't know why it would. Like, we're not going to put arbitrary limits on things. Like,
but it might take
put limits, there'll be mechanical limits.
Like it might take a lot of energy
creature.
to like change the colors of your entire skin all at once. If you're really big and have chameleon camouflage, and so you might die out just because you're becoming completely exhausted just to change a tiny bit or something.
Is it possible to have an amphibious / fully aquatic civilization? I think it is.
Oh man, that question.
Oh no.
But I think it could be.
But yeah, it's possible. You can have a Stone Age aquatic civilization.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to smelt the meltal.
There we go.
You'll be relying more, I believe, on just stuff you can find in the ocean areas.
Oh my god, that made me laugh.
What if they could use the hydrothermal vent? Why do I keep doing this?
Okay, oh man, it's down to we had some other people leave us.
Oh no.
It's all my fault.
But someone,
Would your creature can be 30 minutes or 1 year? As long as you want it to be.
unless your sun dies out and you lose the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the end for your stuff. If you're not in a different star system by then, they kind of toast.
Well, I mean, someone could play as a I suppose someone could play as a bacteria for a bazillion years.
Till the end of their sun.
Till the end of their planet. We're not gonna stop you from doing it.
Yeah. There's no set barrier.
But amphibious civilizations, yeah, perfectly possible. And they'll be able to smelt things because they can be on land.
Sun demons. I'm not sure.
I don't know about that. Kinesis played Thrive for 5 episodes, what it is right now. So some people do have the patience. Kinesis perpetual bacteria playthrough. I'm excited.
What will be the stages?
But someone post that link.
Cellular.
I posted the
think it would help
link.
if we post a link.
Oh yeah, I'll copy that and post it in chat.
For some reason,
Here's
I
the
can't
list.
type in the YouTube chat anymore. I don't know what
Oh
happened.
no, there is a time limit. Yeah, it's gonna be literal. I guess if you went from the cell stage as the stealth stage until your son died, it could probably take you in real life a few years. Suns don't burn out quick.
Especially since microbial generations are like really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we like have a time scale of like 2 hours to complete the cell stage, and we assume that like that takes like 3 billion years, and the average sun burns for 10, like you only have like 3 times that much, so maybe you have like 10 hours.
Oh, yeah, I suppose that would work. We'd have to have like a number for it's like how many years is entering the cell state, is entering the editor. Like, is that 1,000,000 years? Is that 10,000 years?
Yeah, I'd like to add like a counter to the UI that tells you the current year, like relative to like Earth. So you
I
could
was
like,
actually thinking about that earlier, and I love that idea.
so you'd see if you are behind like how life evolved on Earth.
Or if you're
What do you
like,
think it should be, the thing you're mentioning? Because I am designing the thing right now.
well, I mean, it'll be like mostly a code thing, right? Just like have a date counter at the top, and then we can put the data in there.
Symbiosis question mark?
Symbiosis, probably. I don't see any reason not to have it. I don't see any reason why it couldn't emerge either.
What about religion / spirituality for our species?
There's a whole discussion about that somewhere.
Someone asked about the end for the space stage, and that's the ascension, where you basically turn into an energy being and unlock all the sandbox tools.
Bacterial religion. What? No, I'm just imagining a bacteria like by he's like in front of a pew. It's just a bacteria standing there, like just preaching religion to other bacteria.
Curiosity about how domestication might work. I know there's a spot on the forums for that.
Onel Assy says, I'm terrible at reading names. Onel Assy says, open source software can be developed faster than closed source. You just need more to be more known. Do you have any plans for that? Well, we do want to spread the word, and the idea was that we wanted to do some sort of big push before release and after release. And hopefully everyone who plays Thrive could also spread the word to everyone, including any Let's Players that might be interested in playing. I know I'm going to tell a few people, like Pungents, for example,
Make
about
Thrive
it.
thrive.
Yeah, just spread the word. We all want to spread the word. We want to do a big push after release.
Yeah,
Once we have
once
a
the
fun
game is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
A bacterium screaming Allahu Akbar as it released toxins. It's almost as funny as the ramming speed joke.
Or that's what we named the live stream. Bacterial preaching. You're a heretic because you have a different plasmid than me.
Your silly has a different color than mine.
Your flagella is a little bit shorter than mine. Heretic, heathen.
I actually think that the religious thing or spirituality thing could become either a side effect or an included feature later on.
It's planned to have religion.
All right.
Not for bacteria, but
yeah, I wouldn't think the bacteria.
No. Onel, let's see. All hail the spaghetti monster. May he touch you with his newly attended. No. All hail the flagello monster. The Kinesis flagella monster. May it wrap its beautiful hundreds of tentacles around you in its warm, squiggly embrace. Yeah, that's what I just said. Sunny Elsa, you got it. It's a feature. Holy wiggling. Praise the one true Eukaryote, yes. Short flagella lives matter. Oh man, it's getting bad.
As usual, the podcast just
All
evolves
hail
into
Kinesis
memes.
and his messenger, the flagellum monster. Yes. Oh god, he's gonna come back and listen to the podcast and be like, okay, I'm done. These guys are
A
weird.
sentient, intelligent man drifting peacefully through the cosmos. Oh, here we go. Here's a question. What name of the chat of Discord?
/ kill all blue cells. Oh, that's still a meme.
The
we have a question.
that is showing is the podcast one.
We have a question from Serment Show. Do you think that overall, after a large amount of time and maybe hype dies down, that the source code could be put under something like the GPL and be able to be modified and maintained by a team?
Well, I mean,
of Thrive. They mean about Thrive because it is right now on GitHub under the GPL license.
Yeah, it's already there. This is what we do.
Yes.
This is an open source game.
This isn't some secret, elusive thing.
Like, if you want, you can go ahead and download the latest code and see how much of the 0.4 release is already done.
EA just slides secretly in, swipe.
They just swipe our code from us.
EA, no.
I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it beyond them.
Yeah.
Just saying.
They can seem a little desperate sometimes.
Here's the link to the source code, by the way, folks.
Ta-da.
There you go. There you go. There was some
For a
guy who was
while.
compiling it today. I was like, he was trying to compile it, and he got it. And then he was asking questions about it and all this stuff. And it's like I thought he was going to be like a programmer for us, but nope. He just wanted to see what we had, and that was cool.
So it's soon going to be the 2-hour mark, and I think we can start to end this soon because, like, well, maybe there's some
2 hours.
questions we haven't answered, but like, it's gotten to the point where we should end.
I think the questions also got buried.
Yeah. / time travel funk. God damn it.
Actually, time travel would be an interesting concept just to toy around with.
We're not adding time
I don't
travel.
think we can.
We're
It's
not
like
adding
at the
time
very
travel.
end. Look back at your timeline.
Someone
It's
asked the
getting
same
virtual.
question last stream, and I was like, no. We're not adding time travel. Like, that would be such a pain to code. Like, right, Ireland? Like no, let's not do that.
Yeah, let's just store every single past state of the game to make that work.
Yep. Yeah, let's just store every single generation in every single biome on your planet. And somehow not take out your
1.5
entire hard drive.
terabytes. Yeah. 1.5 terabyte storage required.
And then you have to delete it afterwards manually.
Oh, yeah. To start a new game. Ooh. So unoptimized. I can't speak.
You'll never be able to entirely hide me from the live.
I'm trying really hard.
What are you trying really hard to do?
Write their name, like only show the development people.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Maybe we should have a separate server where, like, the podcast, like the top voice channel.
The super secret area for those working. It's like the
Go back
war
in time
situation.
Yes, add time travel. Go back in time and kill all blue cells, and then go back and see how the world changed.
Horribly.
Everything is
You go
now
back
red.
and you're still trapped in the creature stage.
Everything is now a red
Forever.
cell. Open your Bibles to Kinesis. Please, I should not have said that, because I feel weird now. What if your creature becomes self-aware and becomes depressed?
That's life. There was a robot that did that and killed itself.
Yep, Marvin.
No, there was another one. It drowned itself. It was a police unit on patrol.
Wait, when did this happen?
Sometime, it was either earlier this year or late last year. There was this one. It's a stand-in for police patrols that they've been testing out. It got depressed and drove itself into a fountain and drowned.
I need evidence. I don't believe this. This sounds like ridiculous.
I totally remember this.
Can we get a sentient cake or no? Well, I mean, if you create your creature to look like a cake and it works. Bluegrass. Yes, praise the bluegrass. Praise the blue fungus. Can we get a sentient cake? No, I already answered that. Like I like if you play as like a jellyfish that looks like a cake. I mean, I could see that happening, you know. Do you automatically evolve pseudopods if you have no flagellum? Yeah, right now, if you don't have flagellum, you just
I found the
move around.
proof.
So I guess you do have pseudopods. Unless we do plan to eventually add them as their own thing.
There you go. There's your proof.
It was probably just like a bug where it just didn't
Probably.
pathfind correctly.
Probably, but it's hilarious to think it was self-aware and got depressed. It's real life Marvin.
Well, that's interesting. It's probably just a bug. Like it pathfinded bad and it
Yeah.
ran into a fountain. Like
10 books says in 100 years, NASA's first contact is just going to be a super advanced version of Thrive from the future.
blue
I'd
plants
laugh.
with blue pants. Marvin the Martian. There's Marvin the Robot too, I think.
Yeah, he's Marvin the Robot is from Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Yeah,
Galaxy.
yeah.
It was voiced by the same guy who did Professor Snape in the movie they made.
All right, guys. So, do you think we should probably just end the stream here?
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's no more like sensible questions.
Yeah, it's devolved away from Thrive.
All right. That's about the same time it took for us to do the other stream. So
Sweet.
it's about the same.
Yeah, and we are just above 2 hours, so the stream needs to be processed by YouTube before it's fully available.
But yeah, see ya, folks. Thanks for all the questions. Keep paying attention to Thrive. We'll get a new release out eventually.
Yeah, the ultimate goal is to have it to where your characters make Thrive in the game.
Yep. All right, everyone, say bye, and I'll stop the stream.
Hasta luego, folks. Now, what should the next
Bye.
stream be? This is a question.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Bluegrass.